situation. You know what that means? That means that he was never trying to take advantage of anything. That's a big deal. You know, that is a big darn deal. And I came here this morning and was thrilled to see him. He's a friend of mine, Reggie Fields.
Good morning.
Oh, you're not going to be using those.
I'm actually happy that the governor has some good things to say about me because I was...
He didn't have a lot of good to say about me.
Yeah. I was actually a little concerned standing here with my back to him. So I know that we're good. So, you know, I stand here today before you also as a parent of an 11-year-old boy with autism. And I echo what Senator Bacon and the governor has mentioned earlier about this being very good for families. Too many people think that autism just impacts the individual with autism. Actually, it really impacts families and everyone involved. I'm happy that my wife, Angela, is here, and my older son, Blaze, is home from college, going back next week. And they're here just to kind of emphasize just how important, you know, this is to our family. My son, he's 11 years old now. We knew at 2 years old that something was wrong. He also began to regress in many of his developmental areas. And we went to several doctors. We talked to teachers. No one could really tell us. No one knew what was going on. When we finally had an opportunity to get in to try to get a diagnosis, we had to wait 8 or 9 months before we had an opportunity. So again, if we know that early diagnosis and early intervention is important, then time is of the essence. So this is really important. You know, once you do find out that your child has autism, now you're looking for, you're trying to figure out what to do about it. You know, where do you turn? Where do you go? Who's there to help? And once you get some of the answers to those very questions, then you find out that it is astronomically expensive. So now, as a parent, I'm forced with trying to provide my son with limited resources, limited opportunities to appropriate care, because that's what my family budget will allow. And consciously, you feel as though you're not doing all you can for your child. You feel you're cheating your child in some way. So for this now, for an opportunity now for more families to have access to affordable and just access to attainable care for their child is extremely important. And we like to feel that we are involved in the autism advocacy community. And with this legislation here today, our work does not stop. It actually continues in earnest. Because now, as we continue to try to raise awareness of autism, now we have some opportunities to tell people how they can actually get help for these conditions. And we know that minority families, in particular African American, Latino families, if you look at the national statistics, our children tend to be diagnosed later than white children with autism. So again, if early intervention and early diagnosis is so important, time is critical. So we need to do more to make sure that all families, geographically as well, in areas where there are parts of the state of Ohio where people need to travel more than an hour just to see an appropriate doctor or someone, a therapist or someone who can care for their child. And it's just not attainable for those families, whether it's transportation, whether it's cost reasons or whatever. So now we have an opportunity to speak even with a greater voice to try to raise the issue of autism awareness throughout the state of Ohio. Now, we can also tell you that there's a way to make sure that your child gets help for their condition that they're in. So this is an extremely important day, and really, I appreciate the governor for taking, this initiative. He's right. I never tried to use my position as a reporter when I had access to him to try to tell him what he should be doing that's going to benefit me personally. But I knew that it was never far from his mind, because he mentioned Marcy Ingram before to me, and I know. And without me saying anything, the governor told me, or he told the group where I was in, that he was going to figure out something. He didn't know what he was going to do. He's got to figure it out. We're going to do something. Don't know. And that was good enough for me, because I figured he's pretty much been able to do a lot of things since he's been in office, even if he upsets people by doing it sometimes. He moves forward. So I'm going on too long, and one thing that I do know about the governor is he does not like anyone to upstage him, so I better move on.